I was really excited to speak to you today because fasting is it's very close to Eastern traditions, and actually across all cultures and religions, an element of fasting has always been there, and it continues to do so. But you did something quite special in 2017, 2016,
Yeah, 2016.
16, yeah.
Yeah, way
So
back.
so you fasted for 30 days without water, and no, sorry, without food, but was just drinking water. That would have been quite crazy. But
Yeah.
yeah. So please, like, share your experience and your story with us.
So basically decided to. So I'm assuming people know what Parushan is, but basically it's a
No,
Jain
just
festival.
yeah,
Okay,
just
so
start from scratch. Yeah,
yeah. So Parushan is this Jain festival that comes once a year. It's mainly done for forgiveness for throughout the year. Basically, whatever wrong deeds you've done, you're asking for forgiveness. Because if you
mm.
can't do daily forgiveness, you at least have these 8 days. And if not the 8 days, you have the last day of Parushan called Samvatsari. So a lot of people tend to do 8 days of fast during this period where they won't eat anything. They'll only drink boiled water. I did it for 8 days and then decided to continue it for 30 days. Now, I'd heard about other people doing 30 days of fast, but I never imagined I would be doing it
Yeah,
or I could do it.
yeah, of
Uh,
course.
yeah, as a kid, I couldn't even do like 3 days without throwing up. Like I'd
Yeah,
try it because my family would be doing it and I'd be interested in it. I grew up in
mm.
India and everyone around you is kind of doing it. So you kind of fall into that kind of crowd. So you're like encouraged to do it from
Mm.
that aspect. But if you can't, it's fine. No one says
Yeah,
anything.
of course.
And as a kid, I just really wanted to try it. So I used to do it. I didn't understand the whole forgiveness aspect and things like that. But as you grow up, you understand more, you learn more, and then you realize why you're doing certain things. So this was one of those things where I was like, I want to do a 30-day fast. It wasn't an ego thing. It was just, I want to try it out and see if I can actually push myself to do it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Started it, the 8 days went fine. And then I just continued it. And I used to joke around when people used to ask, like, are you going to do? So what they do after the 8 days is they call something called parna, where you break your fast.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I don't want to do my parna. I just want to continue and see how long I can go. And in the back of my head, I had, let me see if I can do 30 days. But I never actively told anyone that actually I'm going to be doing 30 days.
Yeah, of
Because
course.
one, I had no idea if I'd do it.
Yeah,
Two,
yeah, yeah.
I was like, it's like a big reach. Like all of a sudden you go from 8 days to 30 days. It doesn't tend to really happen. It's a big jump.
Mm.
And I went for it. And I have a living guru as well in my
Yeah,
life. And it was his 50th birthday celebrations in September.
yeah,
And Parushan had happened to fall around the same time. Now, completely random, but in the back of my head, when I'd said I'll do 30 days, and it was only after I'd begun in Parushan, I counted, if I actually managed to finish it,
yeah,
I'd be finishing it just around his birthday, like a day or two after. And I was planning to go to India anyway for his birthday.
yeah.
So I was like, how cool would it be if I did it and did it kind of for him,
Mm.
instead of just like, yeah, I can do it, so I'm just going to do it kind of thing.
Yeah,
And then I kept doing it. And in between, there were lots of things that happened. So I had my cousin's engagement.
yeah.
My
I was there for that.
parents, yeah, you were,
Yeah.
My parents flew down from India as well. And then they were going somewhere else after. And obviously, with all these family functions and events going on, there was a lot of like negative stuff. Well, I don't want to say negative, but there was lots of like my family going, don't do it right now. Don't
Mm.
continue. They didn't know I was planning to do 30. They just thought I was doing whatever I felt like doing.
Yeah,
But they were like, imagine your whole family is getting together to celebrate and everyone's going out, eating, etc. And then you're just sat there not eating, not drinking,
yeah,
or anything, because basically I could only have hot water between sunrise and sunset, and then I'm not allowed to have anything. And most people go for dinner after sunset anyway.
yeah. Of
So you're
course, yeah.
kind of just sat there going, I can't even have a sip of water.
Yeah,
And everyone's kind of eating and staring at you going, why aren't you eating? Because not everyone in my family, I have a huge family, and not everyone in my family understands the whole religious aspect of
yeah,
like, fasting and things like that. They're okay with like, you know what, you want to do 8 days, fine, but they don't tend to do much more than that.
mm.
Um, so it kind of went on, and there was like people kind of not criticize. I don't want to say like criticizing, but basically trying to stop me from continuing. And then you'd get the odd family member who'd be like, actually, you know what? I don't want to stop you because I don't want to be that person who breaks something amazing that you're doing,
Yeah.
whatever it is that you're planning to do. They did ask me, like, are you planning to do 8, 14, 15, 21? Because those are all different kind of stops, so different kind of
Yeah.
fasting, like periods that people tend to do. And I used to just be like, I don't know. I'm just going to do it as long as I can. And if ever at any point I feel I can't continue, I will break my fast and I will stop and I will eat, because I don't want to do it where I'm harming myself or my body. And I was very clear on that point. Like, all good and well if I'm doing it for someone else and whatever, but at the same time, I don't want to cause any injury or permanent damage to myself, because I then have to live on as well.
Yeah, of course, of course.
Yeah. So it kind of just went on from there. The first 8 days were completely fine. Yeah, I had like one moment of weakness, but I'd done 8 days previously, so I was pretty confident I'd be able to do 8 days again. So that was not a problem. 9, 10, 11, 13th day wasn't the best day. Felt a bit like weak as such, but it wasn't too bad. And 13th day, I'd also gone from London, which is where I live, to Manchester, where my cousin's engagement was. And we were preparing for all of that and had to dance. Because I also wanted to do my duty as a brother. I didn't want to be because I'm fasting, I'm just going to sit down and take a back seat. Like, it is my sister's wedding after all, like engagement, and I didn't want to let her down. So I was clear in terms of, okay, I need to do my duty and role as a brother, but I also want to do something for my soul. And around that point in time, my guru, so Bapa, who I call Bapa, had said, you're a soul playing a role and you need to play it perfectly. And it didn't matter what role you're playing, you just made sure you played it perfectly. So the role of doing your job, or the role of being a brother to your sister, or the role of being a son to your parents. So I needed to make sure that was perfect. And in this point in time, my role was to be an older brother to my sister, to be there for her, and to make sure that I had performed like whatever I needed to and been there for her at that point in time. So that involved me doing a dance and learning it. It also involved me emceeing the engagement night and just hosting the actual ceremony. So I was preparing for that. So I don't think we slept till about 5 a.m. That morning. Just practicing the dance with the rest of the family and all. And then obviously, being an Indian family, you have a busy household. So everyone's running around preparing the night before. So there was no chance anyone was getting any sleep that night anyway. So that was the time where I felt a little bit like tired and exhausted. But come the next day, when I had like my first sip of water again, I was completely fine. Like, all grace, touch wood, or like hands up to God at this point in time, because there was nothing I could have done differently. All I just kept telling myself is, look, I'm a soul and I need to play my role perfectly. And that was like the little chant that I had going, along with the other one, which I'll tell you about in the future. Essentially, that chant brought me some sort of like divine energy or power, because they say that the soul is full of infinite energy, and it's your body that's limiting you. So I used to keep chanting this and making sure that I was drawing energy from it somehow, and I have no idea how. But that's what I believe like was giving me energy throughout the whole 30 days. Fast forward from there, again, day 14, 15, 16, celebrations were great, completely fine. 23rd day, I was traveling to India. During this whole period, I was just working as well. So it wasn't like I was just sat at home in bed.
Oh my days.
I used to wake up at odd hours and do my job and come back. But again, not an issue. I was working till 23 days, and then I was flying to India during the whole period. So the Nokar mantra is the like fundamental Jain prayer, if you want to call it that. And essentially, before drinking water, I used to say 3 Nokar mantra, and then after drinking water, I used to say 3 Nokar mantra. It's just one of those things that people do when they're fasting. And I also found that I was deriving energy from just saying this prayer, that at points in time, if I did feel weak during the day and I've already had water, I used to sometimes say this prayer as well as chanting in my head, I'm a soul and I need to play my role perfectly, because if I'm working, I need to make sure I'm being productive and working to my best capacity, because I don't want to let anyone else down. It's not fair on my employer either if I'm not working to my full capacity. Like he or she doesn't have anything to do with me choosing to fast, so they shouldn't suffer either. So again, I somehow used to generate energy from that. Day 19, I think, was probably my toughest day. It was one where I thought in my head, like, look, I don't think I can continue. I think I need to break it. And it was towards the end of the day. So I was at work, and normally when you're doing this fast, like I said earlier, you can only have water till sunset. So I was like, let me eat before sunset, so that way at least I'm doing like something called chovyar. So I tried to do that. And then in my head, I was calculating, if I leave my office now and get home at this time, by the time I make food and have it, it'll be past sunset anyway. So do I really want to go down that route, or do I just want to like continue it? And I sat down, contemplated this in my head. And that by that point in time, I was just given more work, which completely like took my mind off food and everything else. And I just got involved in my work while chanting in my head. And next thing you know, I was done with work and it was completely fine. The day got over and I felt 100% again.
So what day was this again?
This was around day 17 or day 19.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
Continued day 23, flew to India for the celebrations of my guru's 50th birthday. Those days were a bit of a blur because we used to basically just travel every evening to NSCI Dome in Mumbai, where the celebrations took place over 3 days. So I used to wake up in the morning, do my own thing, and then in the evening go there anyway. Come back at night, you'd be exhausted by that point in time, go to sleep. I had a couple of friends staying over at my house as well in Bombay. So used to just talk to them, that kind of, and one of them had never actually been to Bombay before. It was quite nice because I got to show them around as well. Considering I grew up there, so I quite knew the local area and stuff. And so I was then showing them around, which basically kept me occupied throughout the whole day, and I didn't have to think about anything. Got to meet my guru during his birthday as well. He had actually sent a message through one of my other friends when I was on like day 20-ish, and had said essentially that he would end up doing 30 days. And I wasn't sure at that point in time if I would do it, but him saying that I will end up doing it just gave me like energy and confidence to be like, you know what, if he sees that I can do it, then surely he sees that I will be able to do it. And that means I can do it. Ended up doing it and then ended up going for breaking my fast to him. And that he had organized a massive celebration, which I had no idea about. He organized it with my brother. I was expecting like an informal thing where I kind of just show up, he'll feed me like a first one spoonful and that'll be the end of it.
Yeah, of course.
It turned out when I got there, he'd organized like a whole bhakti session. He'd made a little like asan for me to sit on next to him on stage. Which was weird because it was in front of like 500 other people. Oh my God. I didn't even know all these people. I was just like, I was not expecting any of this. And the worst thing is I was running late that morning. He actually, I got a call from like the person he's closest to, someone called Nemiji. So his secretary who handles like his day-to-day affair and organizes meetings and things like that for him. And he actually called me saying, where are you? And I was like, I'm about 5 minutes away, because they were all waiting for me.
Oh my God.
And I get there and it turns out it's on the 8th floor. And the lift
and you hadn't eaten yet. This is literally the last hurdle.
And there was a lift, but there was a massive line outside the lift for people to get in. So I was like, you know what, screw this. I can't make him wait any longer. So I just ran up 8 flights, and my parents were shouting and screaming behind me going, you've not eaten for 30 days. You can't be running. And I was like, it's fine. And just like legged it. Got up, and then I was sat down, a little bit out of breath, and then I was completely fine. Got to see him. I forgot everything. Had a great conversation with him, and then he was just like, "So, how long have you got? 15 minutes or 5 minutes?" And I was like, "However long. Like, I got no plans." And he was like, "Okay, then we'll do 15 minutes of bhakti. Then we'll do this. Then we'll do that." And I was like, "What?" We're like not expecting any of this. And
Yeah,
then
wow.
and that morning, I always wanted to do puja before I broke my fast. And puja is where you basically go to a mandir, a derasar,
Yeah,
you pray to the idol that's there,
yeah,
and you use what's called sandalwood to kind of just touch 9 different points for the 9 different qualities of God.
yeah,
And people tend to do this on a daily basis, but I obviously don't. And I thought maybe this is a great day for me to actually do it. Because I was running late, I wasn't able to do it. And it turned out that when I got there, my guru got up and he did puja of the chitrapa, so like a photo frame is
yeah,
chitrapa. And he did puja using he did puja using sandalwood actually. And then he looked at me, and then he was walking towards me. And in my head, I had the whole thing about, I really want to do puja before I break my
yeah.
fast, but I wasn't able to. And then when he looks at me, he pauses, and then he goes, "Okay, you also get up and do it." So he there's those little things which I always wanted to do. He just kind of was ticking them off my list, and
Damn.
it was those things that I'd not even thought of. I was like,
Yeah,
someday I'll get a chance to do it. Someday I'll get to do this. So it was like a number of things that day that he was like, just gave me the chance to do whatever I wanted, kind of thing. Like things that I've always wanted to do, but never had a chance to. So that was one of them. The other thing was I'd never had a chance to do a tilak. So before he does any pravachan, or when he's entering or when he's giving discourses,
yeah,
people go up and put a tilak on him, so like a chanlo or
yeah. On his head. Yeah, here, right. Yeah,
just there.
in the middle of the word. Yeah,
Yeah. I had never ever got a chance to do this, and I was like, "Oh, you know what? Someday I'd love to do this." And then he actually does it to me, and I was just like,
damn.
and I never did it to him. And at that point in time, he never had one either. So I was just like, "How can I have one and him not have one?" So I just told him that, and he was like, "No, it's fine. Like, don't worry about it." And then I was like, "No, you don't have one, and I have one. Looks really bad."
Yeah,
Um, so he was like, he looks at Nemiji, like
yeah.
he's really close to, and he just like says, "Look at this boy." And then he's like, "Give him the plate so he can do it to me." So I got to do that as well.
Oh my
So it's like
days.
all the little things. Then a lot of people have something called like a raksha potli or a
Yeah,
kada that he is tied or put onto them or given to them.
yeah,
It was something I've never got given from him before that point in time either. And I've like always been like, "Oh, I'm never gonna buy a kada and get him to bless it so I can wear it." That was, don't know if it's my ego, but I was just like, I don't want to do that. I want to wait for a point where he's so
gives it
happy
to
with
you.
me that he just comes to me and be like, "Here you go,
Yeah,
I will give you one." So that was another thing that I really wanted, but I'd never asked for in words or physically or even like emailed him or anything along those lines. And at that point in time, on his 50th birthday celebrations, everyone had got one of these, but they were just blessed by him. He didn't actually tie it on everyone.
yeah,
So I had the same one he had blessed, but I brought it with me. And I just like, because on the plate full of like food and different things, there's
yeah.
normally these things as well. So it was on that. And then he asked me, "What's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's the one that you've blessed for everyone during your birthday." And he was like, "Oh, keep that on the side. I'll give you a new one." So he pulls out a new one and then ties it on me. And I was like, it's like one of those things where I was like, I don't want to buy one or give him one for him
Yeah,
to tie.
yeah,
But I was like, considering he's given this to me without me asking and blessed it, like I agree he's given it to everyone else as well,
yeah.
but
But
I
still,
asked for it. So I thought
yeah.
I'd just put it there and see if he would tie it. And he's like, no, get me a new one and I'll tie that on you. So he gets me a new one and ties that on me as well. And then, and then he eventually does my partner, which was incredible. It's like
Oh
one of my
man.
highlights. But yeah, those 30 days, like touch wood, all grace, no matter #blessed, whatever you want to call it.
No.
Like basically, if it wasn't for his little mantras or what I chanted in my head from things that he had previously said, I don't think I'd have done it or gotten the energy or even the willpower to have kind of gone on for 30 days.
Thank you so much for sharing your whole story. Like that was unbelievably fascinating, and there's just so much that you shared, and so much of your experiences are really inspiring.